What's going on? This be your boy DJ Anonymous with Sports Biz Music, episode 5. And I got two special guests. I got AF Music and Dudda Dash, also known as Davinciix. What's going on, y'all?
How you doing, man?
All good here in Connecticut, man.
Yeah, man. Is it still snowing up there?
Actually, it's not snowing right now. It's actually a nice day out today, but you never know. Snow could come very soon.
Yeah, because I know y'all been in the snow for about, what? It was like a month or two, right?
Yeah, we had a pretty decent snowstorm probably like a couple weeks ago. But I mean, I'm looking outside right now. Pretty much all snow, pretty much melted. So, but that could change. Being in New England, 2 days from now it could, snow another 6 inches. So you never know.
Yeah. So just introduce ourselves. Tell the people a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah. So like I said, Afmuzikx. And I'm the producer of the group Davinciix, also function as artist of the group as well. But I've been in music production for probably the past maybe 6-7 years. So I started early in college, really getting into recording, mixing, engineering. On that front, I'm pretty much all self-taught. But I'm a trained musician. So, I mean, since I was probably 8 or 9, and I took music lessons, I was musically trained. So I started off playing trumpet pretty early on, and I played in, jazz groups, I played in orchestras. So I always had a solid foundation for music. So breaking into, recording and producing was a little bit easier in the fact that I, already had a solid base for understanding musical arrangements and things of the sort. So, so the past, 3 or 4 years, we've just been really working on getting kind of a polished product out. And, we've been getting a little buzz here the past year or so. So we're just looking to build on that and hopefully show the world what we can do. So.
And I'm Dudda Dash. Make that known. A lot of people have a hard time pronouncing it. Dudda Dash. I'm what they call the spitter of the group. I do a lot of the rap and lyrical content. I put together some melodies. I've always been into music ever since I was young. Growing up, going to church and being in choir and whatnot, so I know how that works. So I'm able to put together melodies, but my heart is with rap and hip hop music. So I like to combine the two. And working with AF, he helps put the melodies together and put the instrumentals behind the tracks. So that's where I come from, the music background.
Okay, so when did y'all realize that music was like not only your passion but like your path?
So I think probably about 6 years ago. This is probably about the time when we started working together. Dash was working on a project separately. With a guy we still work with. His name's RT. He works out of a studio in Hartford, Connecticut. He primarily does a lot of our mastering. And he was working on a project with Dash. And a lot of it was, how much of that was like original content? Was it more like
half and half, I guess.
Yeah, so it was just like a culmination of different things that he was working on. And so he pretty much had a project all set to go, and kind of from that point, we were just interested in kind of developing some other sounds. I had just started getting into music production, so we worked on a couple tracks together. Listening back to them now, I'm not all too impressed with the stuff that I was doing way back then. But from that point, we kind of figured that maybe we got something here, maybe. This is something we can grow into, like a really solid sound. So from that point, we pretty much every month, every week, we were working on something different, developing sound. And I think that for a lot of producers and a lot of artists, it's about finding a sound. And, music, there's niches in music. You hear a Drake track come on, you automatically know it's Drake.
Yeah.
Drake's very versatile, but a lot of the really popular artists on now, that they have a sound that is unmistakable. Whether it's Migos, whether it's Travis Scott, whether it's Drake. I mean, these guys have a sound, and I think that's what a lot of their fan base comes from. So, rather than having 6 or 7 different things you're good at, I mean, finding a sound that really resonates with you and your music, I think is what's going to draw traction. So, I mean, it probably took us a couple years to really develop a sound that we think is something that people will gravitate to and something that people will appreciate. So, and we're still working on our craft to this day. I mean, that never stops, but I think we're at a point where we've developed enough skills in writing and producing, together that, we can pretty much record something and know it's going to be a solid product. So,
So did y'all have any influences growing up? Like, different artists that I used to listen to when I was younger?
Growing up, for me, pretty much, what's hip-hop music? Hip-hop music, of course, the Jay-Z's, Nas, Eminem, all the greats, of course, but I also was into R&B, Usher, who else back then? There's a bunch of R&B artists. I can't really think of any right now, but Usher, and then the hip-hop greats. But as far as other genres, I wasn't really into many other genres except, growing up in church and gospel music. But other than that, it was always hip-hop and R&B for me. I'm pretty sure AF had other lanes that he was into, which you can see in our music. We talk about our music that it's not just hip-hop and R&B.
The reason, before I go to AF, the reason why I asked because one of the tracks I listened to was Dead Prayers. And, when I first now I listen to it, but when I first seen the title, I everybody know about Jay-Z and Nas with the Dead President songs and stuff like that. And when I listened to the song, to me it kind of had that feel, but with the with AF, he comes in, with the melodies and stuff like that. What cause coming from the East Coast, cause a lot of people, listen to Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, listen to different artists from, from the region, but listen to y'all music, before we recorded the podcast, the reason why I asked, cause y'all sound is different, it's top 100 sound, and it could be I don't want to say pop, cause it's not pop. It's you still get that lyrical, you still get that R&B vibe. That's why I asked where y'all get that sound from, because it's so unique,
Yeah. So I mean, like Dash said, I mean, we definitely were, always try and keep our influences to people who paved the way in music. So people like Jay-Z, people like Kanye West, people like Nas. So, I mean, Dead Prez is obviously an iconic hip-hop track.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an unmistakable hip-hop track. It's arguably one of Jay-Z's most iconic recordings. And, just kind of a way for us to pay homage to, some old hip-hop and, people who are true hip-hop heads, can appreciate something like that. So as far as that track goes, I mean, I found the original sample that that track was produced from, and I'm pretty sure, I think Just Blaze produced their president. It could be wrong.
I think it was
Just Blaze, but so I found the original sample, and I just chopped up the sample in my own kind of way, and I wanted to build a little bit different of a sound to it. And I've got my own unique type of sound. I gravitate towards certain sounds, so it just ended up being something that worked out, really well sonically. And then I sent it to Dash, and obviously, being such a great lyricist, I mean, he wrote something in a day, and we recorded it. We loved the way it sounded, so we decided that we would release that, have it on our SoundCloud, post a little snip on our Instagram. You know, that way people who, you know, pull up our pages, you know, can see that, you know, while we do have this unique sound, you know, at heart we still really want to pay homage to, you know, real hip hop influences and things like that. So,
As a producer, did you have any did you look up into any other producers growing up, like the Dre's, the Pharrells, things like that, people like that?
yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, when I first started producing, I was always on YouTube watching producer videos. So videos from, you know, Pharrell's NERD days. You know, a big influence of mine in those times was Ryan Leslie. I mean, he kind of started that whole phase of putting up producer videos of him in the studio. You know, starting with an instrument and then him adding on various instruments just to show how he produced his music. So. And then people like Just Blaze, and you know, currently, you know, a lot of the producers out now that are pretty, you know, popular. And 40 is definitely a big influence of mine. Mike Will made it. I think he's a great producer. You know, guys like Metro Boomin, a lot of these producers that are out now, you know, are definitely people I still, you know, pay attention to. You know, and a lot of, you know, to keep your sound current, I think you need to know what other people are doing. So while I don't model my music after other producers, I think there's certain sounds that you need to have in your music so that people can hear it and say, well, oh, I can hear that on the radio. So I always try to pay attention to what other producers are doing, little tricks of the trade that they might incorporate into their music, and maybe I'll decide, you know, I think this is something that I can put in my music and whatnot. So I think always staying educated on what other people are doing, you know, it's a good way to, you know, kind of incorporate that into your own music. So.
Okay, yeah, because you know I noticed that in the different like every 5 years, the sound of music changed, and you start seeing like a lot of producers. They don't have, because you can always tell each producer what they sound like. Maybe they have like a type of snare or a type of drum that they use. But
Definitely.
they follow that same like the same like for example crunk music back in the early 2000s was big. You know, you had a lot of, you know, producers not doing the same sound, but they was going in that same like that same avenue. Like they try to follow it, but what they own, you know, what they own tune and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
um Dudda Dash, before we started the podcast, before we started recording, you said that you and AF played sports. What sports did y'all play?
Man, we played basketball, football, tennis, golf. We played a lot of sports. That our whole family that's what we do. We like to play sports, and you know we're very competitive. We like to compete. So even when it comes to music, if we throw on if AF throws on an instrumental, we might have a competition who could write a better, you know, chorus or hook. And it's just that's how we are. We're just competitive, and we like to compete. And sports was always a part of that. My dad, you know, taught me a bunch of sports. His dad was great in baseball and a whole bunch of other sports. So that's just what we do. We're just competitive.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I always say that sports is like, you know, it helps people. You know, you may not, like for example, you could be in like middle school, high school, even college. You may not go pro, but like sports always been like that thing that just help you with communication, with teamwork, with hard work,
Exactly.
and dedication. So like John, like with both of y'all, like y'all, you know, y'all doing music. You know, y'all didn't go pro in sports, but y'all went pro in music, and y'all took that same aspects from sports into music, and look at y'all like y'all building like y'all have your own brand, y'all have a buzz, you know. So, you know, I would say sports is something that I will always love to encourage, you know, kids to do, because it will help them in the long run.
Exactly.
Definitely. Agreed.
Even in music is competitive too. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So I mean, we have a different sound, but we also want to compete with it. I'm not just competing with people that's from Connecticut. I'm trying to compete with people that, you know, are the best right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel like I always want to be. I always want to win. I feel like I'm a winner, and whoever's the best right now, that's I'm trying to take that spot. That's where I get that competitive and that competition in hip hop. That's why I love hip hop so much, because, you know, that's what you compete for who's the best lyricist. How can you top that lyricist? And, you know, that's where you get what you get with sports and music.
To continue on the sports subject, what particular sport did both of y'all like the most?
I mean, for me, like Dash said, I mean, we played everything growing up.
Yeah,
I mean, we tennis camps early on. I mean, we lived across the street from each other all growing up. So, you know, I've got an older brother. We've got a cousin who's the same age as us. So we were always outside, you know, from waking up till late. We were outside playing basketball. You know, so, but for me personally, I mean, I grew up playing soccer. So I played soccer in college as well.
Mm-hmm.
So soccer is probably the sport I'm most proficient at, if you want to say I'm proficient at anything, which I'm probably really not in retrospect. But I mean, I love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, football. We both play in a football team together. We play in a basketball team together. So I mean, I'm a lover of all sports. So I get different phases of where, you know, maybe I really feel like playing tennis, or maybe I really feel like playing golf. I mean, it just kind of comes in waves. So.
Okay.
You know, but overall, you know, I'm a lover of all sports. So,
as for me, it's definitely between basketball and football. I really have a hard time deciding. So yeah, between basketball and football, I just love, you know, football. You can't. There's no other sport like football because it's so competitive and it's physical. Like, you gotta really want it in football. Basketball's a little bit more finesse, and, you know. So it depends on how I'm feeling, but it's out of those two.
Mm-hmm. Now, one more question about sports. Who y'all going for in the Super Bowl?
Oh, Patriots.
So y'all not the Patriots.
So
stand the Patriots.
So AF, I can tell you a Patriots fan. Dudda Dash, what's your favorite team?
I like the Raiders.
The Raiders, okay, that's what's up. Why the Raiders? Why the Raiders? Because I know an artist from Jersey, and she told me the same thing. Like, the Raiders been like a favorite team, like, growing up.
I'm just growing up, you know. Actually, it's from midget football. I had some cousins that played on a midget football team, and they were the Raiders. And I just liked their logo and the way they looked. I liked the symbol. It was gritty. Then growing up, I just became a fan of the team. It's from the West Coast. I liked how the fans acted and whatnot. And then out here, I like to be different. I don't like to, you know, out here is a lot of Patriots fans, you know, the bum-ass Patriots.
Yeah.
And then the Giants and Jets. So I was like, let me be a little different and go towards the West Coast. So I always follow the Raiders, man.
Yeah, because I remember in one of the videos on YouTube, I seen a Dolphin towel. I was like, this man a Dolphin fan, yes. But you're a Raiders fan. I ain't got no problem with the Raiders.
Pay homage to it, you know, me out there. I mean, got the I like the way the Dolphins look.
Yeah, man. So AF, why so you really love the Patriots?
Oh, I mean, hardcore Patriots fan. I mean, my father, I grew up in a Patriots household, so my mother's a hardcore Patriots fan. My father is a hardcore Patriots fan. So I never really had a choice growing up, you know, other than to be a Patriots fan. But you know, being from New England, I mean, Connecticut's kind of like a middle ground.
Yeah.
So you get like Giants fans, you get Jets fans, you get Patriots fans, and you have people like Dash who just, you know, gravitate towards whatever team they like. You know, you get closer to the Massachusetts area, and you're in Patriots land, like 100%. So, but I've always been a super Patriots fan from the Bledsoe era to now the Tom Brady era. And obviously, if you love the Patriots, you love Tom Brady. So I won't say too much about Tom Brady because I know that's the controversial subject. But that's my dude. I'm a Patriots fan, so we're ready to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, the thing with Tom Brady is, like, when Kobe out west.
Hey, Kobe.
like
That's
when,
that dude, Kobe.
yeah, man. Like Kobe, yeah, like Kobe growing up, like Kobe and Dwayne Wade and like Shaq was like my favorite players, of our generation and stuff like that. So when Kobe retired, you had a lot of them, teams from out west that was just excited. So my fiance, her cousin, because my fiance she's from Manhattan, New York. So one of her cousins is a Jets fan, and we said one thing that we got mutual respect in is that when Tom Brady retired, we go be happy because this man been running the whole division for like 2 decades, man.
Definitely.
But to get back into music, I seen a video y'all did for Puerto Rico. Y'all Puerto Rican descent.
So yeah, my father is from Puerto Rico, and he moved to the States when he was pretty young. I still have some family in Puerto Rico now, but I'm half Puerto Rican and half black. So
yeah,
so that's kind of a little bit on my heritage.
What about you, Dudda Dash?
No, I'm full black, but I did that because I feel for Puerto Rico and what's going on with that situation. Plus, AF is half Puerto Rican, so we wanted to incorporate that in the music and the track that we did.
Yeah, cause like when I seen it, when the hurricane had came, we was hit, real bad. But I mean, it's the United States. Like we gonna recover. Puerto Rico haven't had a hurricane in about 70 plus years, so they wasn't ready for that. And
Definitely.
it's still crazy because a lot of people still don't have no power. Like I seen a video like last week that one of the schools just got power, and it was kind of it was crazy. Like, and it was sad. Like, damn, like if anything I can do, I can help. Me and my especially my fiance, she's Dominican, but she has a lot of family in Puerto Rico. She pretty much, like her family moved to like different places, and one of them went to Puerto Rico. So like that's like a second or third home, So it was like hard for her to see all that. But speaking of that, like because a lot of people don't want to talk about him. I don't really want to talk about him either, but it's really because I want to hear, other people's opinions, especially about like the whole situation, dealing with Puerto Rico. Like how how did you feel about that, AF? Like about like he wasn't really, treating Puerto Ricans, because Puerto Ricans, Americans, it's an American territory. Like he wasn't treating them like. He was basically treating Puerto Rico like a third world country. Like,
I mean, and anyone that pays attention to the media and follows these types of things. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of stories to come out about things racially with how the president deals with things and his potential prejudices that might be coming out. So I mean, that's something that people know about. It's out there. And I know, especially, people in my family, most of my Hispanic families lives in Connecticut. So, I know that my family didn't appreciate the way that the whole situation was handled. It almost seemed like it was kind of like a second, third, fourth type of thought thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really taken that seriously. So, and then you see the videos of, him going there, and it almost seemed like it was like an obligation and kind of making a joke of it with
like he was forced to.
Like that. Yeah, so it just seemed a little bit disingenuous. And I mean, we could probably have a 2-hour conversation about politics and, things with Trump, but, I'll keep it simple as saying, I don't fully support most of the things that this guy says, and what he stands for. And, I mean, you could come up with things for every president that ever served and say, I don't like this, I don't like this, that about him. But when it comes to not treating people equally across the board, that's when, I feel like, now we have to stand up, use our voice for something and express our opinion on, we're not about people being treated differently because of the way they look, where they're from, whether that be Muslim, whether that be someone from Puerto Rico, whether that mean you're Christian. I mean, it doesn't matter. Our music's for everybody. We stand for everybody. I mean, we come from a multiracial background, so we understand what it's like. So we're all about positivity, equality, and I think if more people spread that message, then you maybe get a little bit more positivity overall. So I mean, that track that we recorded it pretty much shortly after the whole hurricane issue and then the NFL issue, with that whole fiasco. So I think if you have somewhat of a voice, use it to express your opinions, and I think you can do it in a respectful way to where you're getting your views out, getting your views out there. So that's what we just decided to do with that.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was a great message because you don't really see that from. I mean, of course, you see like from artists, that's already made it and stuff like they talked about it, but you don't really see it from a lot of up and coming artists, or I call them, like mid major, but I already want to consider y'all mid majors because I feel like y'all can blow up like in 2 hours from now, like the go back Dudda Dash to go back to the Puerto Rico situation, but also to the NFL situation. Well, for both of you, how do y'all feel about that situation, especially with Colin Kaepernick?
I feel like I think it was tough for Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I think he was putting I feel like he's a leader for doing what he did. Taking a knee. It was hard. I mean, how can I put it? I just feel like he paved the way for a bunch of other athletes to do what he did, and I wanted to put that in a song, a message showing how much he meant to me also, seeing that he did that, and he put his job on the line, his life on the line. He doesn't have a job right now in the NFL, and that's because the way he felt and following the way that he felt like he was being treated unfairly. As a black man, you have to commend that, and I just felt like I needed to put that in my music.
Yeah, man, because I feel like the whole situation was unfair. Like, man, a lot of people understand too. It's like, all right, he could have stayed with the 49ers. He could have, because he had like an extra year. But he opted out because he wanted to bet on himself. Meaning that he was like, I want to get more money. A lot of people don't realize that he ain't they ain't just kick him out. I feel like that was a reason how they did it. Like, they're like, oh, so he opted out, and that was a good reason for them to let him go and not sign him. And when I look back at the situation, I'm like, this man, what he did was so courageous. Like, I don't even know how many people would do that, like, would sacrifice their career. Like, people could say all they want, like, yeah, he got the money and stuff, things like that, but still, like, the man loved football. Like, that was his passion growing up. Like, that was one of his passions growing up. And, just to see him, like, not get even a little chance, not even a tryout, because of, what he stood for. And it goes back, like, I be having conversations, with my homeboys and stuff about, like this whole world is like full of hypocrites. Like, you have people, which I believe people deserve second chances. Like, I was like like, I voted on the ballot that people who have like charges, like, what are felonies, You know, like now people with felonies, they can't vote, but they trying to push that. I'm like, people, you know, I feel like people with felonies should have a second chance. Now, to me, it's certain things that I wouldn't like, you know, let slide, but still, like, people still, you know, deserve a second chance, and like for him to get blackballed like that for his rights, or you got other people doing like worse stuff than what he doing, and what he doing is not even bad. It's just giving a positive message, you know, about the police brutality and about, you know, having equal rights and everything. Like it's just, it was unfortunate, man. I feel like I hope one day like he either play for the league again or he become like a owner, cause the man is smart, you know. So um, another situation too I want to talk about, you know, cause you know being in the entertainment industry. I don't know if y'all heard about the Monique situation with the Netflix.
Oh,
I didn't
Netflix.
really hear all about it, but yeah, what is that with the Netflix?
So basically, shout out to Monique. Please, you my auntie, but you know I want to set this out. So basically, you see that like Netflix starting to do all these stand-ups for the last couple years. Like they had Dave Chappelle, they had all these Cat Williams, they had all these comedians. I think Chris Rock gonna do one too.
Yeah.
They're having these specials for these comedians, and to me, you know, yeah, we have HBO and Showtime, but like Netflix is like really bringing that feeling back of I just want to on Saturday night. I just want to watch a stand up. You know, they bringing that back. But she was doing a second special because she did one before. I didn't even know about that, but she did. They offered her $500,000. Where they charged what's the girl name? Amy. I forgot the girl name. I forgot her whole name, but
Amy Schumer?
Yeah, Amy Schumer. Like they was paying her like I think like $1.7 million or something like that. Something like that. And then like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock was getting paid like 20 or 30 million a episode. And she keeps saying that like, you know, she's the most decorated comedian. But I'm like, you know,
Most what?
Decorated.
comedian, and like I love Monique. Monique is like my auntie. You know, that's like everybody auntie, but like I feel like she's pushing it too much. You know, because like you gotta think about it. Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock,
I mean,
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, like these are like
Kevin Hart. I mean, all these guys are on there now.
yeah, like Charlamagne was talking about it because in his podcast, and he was saying that if Kevin Hart wants to do a Netflix special, they'll pay him a lot of money because he's hot. Even with
he's popular right now.
yeah, even with the female comedian Tiffany, like if she did a special, they'll pay her a whole load of money. It's just that Monique, you know, me and my fiance had a conversation about it, and she was pretty much saying like everybody should. Like Monique hasn't. She's been in movies lately, but she hasn't had that, you know, like that memorable moment. You know what I'm saying? Like in the past few years. And
So what is she? So she's saying Netflix is being prejudiced against her.
like it's like first she wanted to do black, but I'm like, you know, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock is black. You know, they black. But then she wanted to put like the sexist, you know, thing in it. But I'm like, you got Amy, you got Wanda Sykes, you have all these other female comedians that's, you know, they getting paid, but you gotta realize of what they doing for themselves right now. Like
She's feeling some type of way.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, she also got to realize too. Like, yeah, you got all these, you know, awards and things like that. But I just feel like she's not keeping up, you know, with today's with today's situation. That's social media. Like, look at Oprah. Oprah got her own podcast and she got her own television and stuff. She's keeping up with technology. Monique, she's not really, you know, doing that, and that's why I feel like she's not getting the money that she deserves because she's not in like every avenue. Like you have the movies and stuff like that, but like you have to be hands on with your fans. Like Kevin Hart, all these comedians, they are hands on with their fans and stuff. That's why they getting all these opportunities. So
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I saw Monique in anything. I mean, she was real popular there for maybe a couple years back, but I don't remember the last time I even saw her do anything really relevant. So when her name came up, because I saw a couple things pop up on my Facebook feed, I'm like, hey, like where the hell did Monique come from? Like, she's not really been out there like that, so that you like are keeping up on her name, like you said. So, so she obviously, is feeling some type of way about something.
Yeah, it gotta be. But my whole question for that whole situation for y'all is like, as artists, cause y'all have a lot of growth. I always tell people that even if you make it to the point where you want to be at, you still growing as a person, and you still like learning things every day. Um, how would y'all feel in that situation? Like, have y'all been in a situation before where y'all should have been paid more than like, let's say like, all right, like I'm trying to say, a promoter come up to y'all and say, yeah, we want y'all to do a show, but it's he give you a number, but it's less than what y'all hope to be. Would y'all take it, or would y'all like fight for it?
Hmm. I think a lot of that is understanding like where you are in your situation currently. So, I mean, while if someone came to me and said, I want to pay you $500 for the show to perform for 2 hours, and I think we're worth $2,000. I mean, what can I base that $2,000 I think I'm worth on? I mean, while we've got great music, I mean, there's still a lot of room for us to grow as artists. I mean, we're not world known, or we're not known all over the U.S. I mean, we're slowly building a following. But am I at a point where I can demand that of someone right now and tell them, listen, you need to give me X, Y, Z because I think I'm worth it? Well, how do I show that person that I'm worth that? Do I think I have enough content behind me to prove that I'm worth 200% more than what you're offering me? So I think that's where people got to balance, like, when to take an offer or when to, turn an offer down and try to negotiate something higher. So, I mean, I think it's a lot of knowing what your current circumstances are and picking and choosing your battles because, maybe that $500 isn't worth it right now, but could that $500 and the exposure you're getting from that event lead to another event where you're getting paid the $2,000? It could. So, I think it's just about knowing your circumstances, knowing the environment, knowing the person that is offering you the opportunity or offering you to pay. I mean, I think, just using some discernment to know whether or not someone's trying to take advantage of you by offering you something on the low, or if they're really offering you something that's like the current market value. So if he's paying another artist $500 that's relatively at the same buzz as me, then I got to take that $500 and live with it. But it's just knowing your surroundings, knowing and then reevaluating yourself and where you are currently in your career. And as you become more popular, then you can demand more. But you got to start somewhere and build on that. So.
And pay me the big bucks.
Now, like, yeah, because this goes down to like the business part of the podcast that I love the most. So what other adventures do you have, like besides the music?
I mean, a lot of our time is focused on, and money in a sense is focused on, getting our product out there. So I mean, there's so many platforms now where you can promote your music.
Yeah.
But it requires money to do that. So, whether it's putting something on YouTube and trying to get it out there to get views.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it requires putting money behind it so that you get to a wider audience.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with like Facebook, Instagram. To a certain point, if you want to reach a wider audience, you do have to put some money and funds behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as other venues, I mean, we try and keep our palette pretty open for different opportunities and things. So, we work with a guy who does, who's working on getting his music, recording, he's actually recording music videos and things. So
Yeah.
he's working on getting that part of his business up. So, working alongside people like that who are, trying to develop themselves as well. Then personally, we have our own interests that we're in, financially that we, kind of take care of ourselves. But, on the music front, a lot of our focus is more so put there. For any musician coming up,
Mm-hmm.
it takes money, it takes time, and the money isn't always there. So,
Yeah.
that's when you have to find other creative ways to get your music out there. And, it's balancing whether it's putting out quality music or putting out a quantity of music. I mean, what's better? You just blast the internet with music and hope something sticks? Or
Yes.
do you take time to create a quality product, put a little bit more money into that product so that when you put it out there, it immediately grabs someone's attention. So, we balance the two, and I think generally we put most of our time, energy, money into creating a great product, a great music, a product the first time around. So I think most of our resources are kind of, put that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the great you talk about that, because I want to know, especially from Dudda Dash, because a lot of rappers are coming out with like music like every day. Um,
Yeah.
is it really important? Because there's only a few artists, that rather take their time, let the music ride out for a few months or for like a year. 'Cause back in the day, like back in the early 2000s and stuff, you could release an album and that could last you about 2 to 3 years, depending on the quality of the album. Do you think that
Exactly.
it's still important to, as an artist, to still, take your time instead of like rushing stuff out and keeping up with time?
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Mm-hmm.
I scratched about maybe two projects before we even put this album out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, it's all about quality. It wasn't quantity. I could do a bunch of songs or a bunch of tracks with a few freestyles and just keep pushing, but it's not gonna be, the best quality, the best that I got to give. So I had two projects that I did, and I scrapped them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like 20 tracks, 20 to 30 tracks that just I scrapped because I felt like it wasn't ready. And so I got the right sound, and I'm a perfectionist, so if it doesn't sound right, then I don't want it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to the point now where that I felt like our album was complete from beginning to end, and it was ready to come out. And the next project that we're working on, I mean, it's not going to be done in a month. It might take half a year, but because of the quality, we want great music. So, and when you drop a great album or you drop great music, like you said, it's gonna last longer than a 10-track mixtape that you just put a few bars on and you're trying to call it a project.
Mm-hmm. Y'all have projects on iTunes?
Yeah, our first project, it's called The Wait Is Over. That's on iTunes right now. So it's listed under Dudda Dash and AF, but the project is called The Wait Is Over. And that's I think it's total 13 tracks, I think, right around there. So we recorded that over the course of a couple years. And that's like Dash said, that was the project that we felt, showcased us the best as kind of our coming out project.
Yeah, because I got to check that out because I heard like your singles and I was trying to look for like projects, and
Okay, yeah.
so I'm gonna check that out right after the podcast and stuff, and I'll reach back out to y'all and just let y'all just give y'all a review and stuff like that.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know.
Definitely. Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon, it's on Google Play, it's on Tidal. So it's on all the major streaming platforms under The Wait Is Over. So, we try and, distribute it on all of the popular platforms. So anyone can pull it up. I mean, right when it came out, we promoted it pretty heavily. And we got a really good turnout, for as far as streams go. So, and then slowly we'll be putting out some singles and things. And then like Dash said, we're not sure how long the next project is going to take. We already have been working on the next project. So whenever we think that's going to be complete, and maybe it'll take 3 to 6 months, we're not sure, maybe even sooner, but we want to put out another project that's a progression from this project. So we want to make sure everything's becoming better and better as we kind of progress in our career. So so that should be on the way. Hopefully we'll get something in by summer.
Okay, that's what's up. And are y'all like working with other artists right now?
I mean, pretty much everything that I produce, or pretty much everything Dash writes. I mean, we do some small things on the side, but pretty much everything that we put out is stuff that we work on together. So I'm not really working with any other artists. We don't really work with many other producers.
We don't have many features. We had maybe one. I think we had one feature on our album. This kid Coop. He plays instruments and he sings. But other than that, we like to showcase our talent and what we have. So I mean, we have each other. So we don't really need many features, but we do work with other artists on the side.
Yeah, that's what's up. So with the Grammys coming up on Sunday, have y'all seen the nominations?
I saw a couple of them for like hip hop albums. So I know Kendrick's albums nominated. I know Childish Gambino's is nominated, and then a few others. I'm not sure what the other ones are, but I generally watch the Grammys when they come on. So I don't know all the projects that are nominated right now, but I know Kendrick's is pretty much in the running to take hip hop album of the year.
Yeah. So what was y'all like besides because I know as an artist y'all listen to your music every day all day before anybody's, but you also listen to other artists. What you think is the album of the year? Like, cause Kendrick album was really good. Like a lot of people said that like Damn wasn't as good as Pimp a Butterfly. I feel like Damn was very good. Then you also had Jay-Z 444, where a lot of people felt like, especially the younger generation, felt like it was like old music. But to me, I felt like I loved the album because it taught me a lot. Especially it was like a business album. Like it was like he was teaching you everything, but into music, and like that was dope. And then you also have like these other like albums and stuff. So in the past year, what was like your favorite like album to listen to?
So I don't know. I like Jay-Z's 444 album. I thought that was decent. I don't know. What do you think about that album?
I like you said, I like his message, but as far as Jay-Z, like it wasn't really one of my personal favorites. I like like Blueprint. I like Blueprint 3. So that's when you like grow up listening to Jay-Z. To me, something about I didn't really like the instrumentals and the beats on it. I didn't feel like he was lyrically showing what he could do. He was just pretty much trying to tell a message, I guess. So to me, I wasn't really a big fan of the 444 album, honestly. But I did like a couple songs, and I like the message he was trying to put out there, and showing people, he basically his smarts and what you should be doing in the business. But I really didn't. There's not a lot. I didn't hear a bunch of albums that I liked this year. I'm not really a huge fan of Kendrick. so I didn't really listen to his album because I can't listen to a whole album to me of Kendrick. Nothing against him, but
Yeah.
it's just not. I don't gravitate towards his music, so I haven't really heard any like this time right now. There's not a bunch of rappers that I really like a lot. You know, growing up, a whole bunch of rappers. I felt like I couldn't wait for the album to come out, and right now I feel like it's not at a point where I can't wait for someone's album to come out. Like I couldn't wait for his album to come out. I couldn't wait for the G-Unit album to come out. I couldn't wait for Jay-Z's album. I couldn't wait for Eminem's album. Like at that time, Lloyd Banks. At that time, there was so many albums coming out that I couldn't wait to hear. But I don't feel like that right now.
Do you think because of streaming, you think of streaming affected that? Because I remember my first album I ever bought, well, my sister helped me buy, was it was Ludacris, not Back to the Future, but Word of Mouth. That was like my first album, and then I had like 50 Cent album, Get Rich or Die Trying, was classic. I had the Eminem show. I forgot which Fabulous album that was, and I had the Trick Daddies, and I had the Pitbull, his first album. Do you think that streaming had an effect on that because of it wasn't the what were you about to say?
Personally, I really don't think it's the streaming. I really think it's the quality of good albums. I just don't feel like people are putting together great albums where you can listen from beginning to end. So I mean, all these new artists, of course, they got I find the new artists out. I found songs that I like. It's very rare that I like their whole product and everything that they're putting out. I'll find a couple hits that I like, a couple catchy tunes, but there's no artist to me that are putting out, from beginning to end a great album, except for maybe Drake, Kendrick. Everyone loves Kendrick. I'm not a big fan, but from what I can tell, everyone likes his albums. But other than that, there's not many. J. Cole, if you like that type of music.
I love J. Cole.
But other than that,
yeah,
it's not really. J. Cole, you could tell J. Cole puts in time to make a complete album from beginning to end, and he puts a lot of work in his albums.
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't like his last album, which to me, it's not my favorite from his catalog, but it's not, because I guess it's too laid back, because J. Cole's already laid back, but like, for me, my favorite album from him was, what's it called, his second album.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of that one.
It was called. It had. Damn. Why did I forget this man second album? But it had Power Trip on there. But the whole album was like great. But I mean, as far as like excitement, I can see what you mean. Like you don't really look forward to music like how it is. Cause for me, I don't think it's streaming. I think it's because a lot of people just come out with music like every 2 weeks. Like when Drake, for example, when Drake came out with his joints last week, I was excited because one, I ain't heard from Drake in like it was like what, months. We ain't really hear from Drake before he dropped his that 2-track EP. And I'm like, this boy, he ain't really lose nothing. And like, for me, honestly, like speaking on Drake, when Drake first came out, I loved that Drake. But it was someone I couldn't really listen to all the time. Like, I I'm a laid back person, but I'm still from Miami, so like, I like that upbeat tempo music, especially, playing sports, working out and things like that. Yeah. If I'm with my girl, or if I'm just by myself, just riding and stuff, and like I need a moment, I listen to Drake. But Drake, I'm not gonna, play him straight. Like when I'm at the gym, like I listen to like a Meek Mill, I listen to a old Pitbull, or I listen to like old Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z, my favorite album from Jay-Z is the Black Album. stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah, I get what you mean. Now, AF as a producer, like, do you have that same? Do you feel the same? Like, do you not look for new music, or you just like you still get a little excited about it?
So, I mean, I was always really excited to hear like Drake's projects. Like I always thought, like even from Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and then what was the album right before that one? I can't remember the name of that one. Thank Me Later.
Thank Me Later was a classic.
Yeah, I just was always like those were really definitely big influencers on me wanting to get into music production because I thought that the way that all those tracks were recorded, the way that the music was made, and a lot of that was attributed to 40, but so more from a producer standpoint, I liked those albums because of the way that they were produced. I thought that they were all produced like really, really well. Everything kind of molded together, so you could tell it was like a complete thought out project. I mean, with producers nowadays, I mean, a lot of like the hot tracks that are out. So you got like Gucci Gang from what's his name, whatever that kid's name.
Little
is.
Pump, and you know what's crazy? I didn't even know Little Pump was from down here. He's from Miami. Like it's these new artists that's coming out. They're from Florida, and I'm like, I don't like. It's like I guess because I'm getting older, but then at the same time, like I look at the old Gucci Man. I'm like, I'll still listen to the old Gucci Man. But like Little Pump and them, like they have to grow on me. You know, like they have to like. But I still wouldn't like with them. I can't listen to a whole album. Like
no, impossible. Yeah, they got like one or two tracks. You're like, oh yeah, you can hear that in the club. You can hear that out. Like you can play it at a party or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's something you're gonna turn in your car and play for 2 hours a day. Like it's not. Like a really crafted out music that you could tell someone put time into.
Yeah.
Someone probably made that beat on Fruity Loops in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They got an 808, they got a bass drum, a snare, they found a sample, and they gave it to Lil Pump. He put a little catchy thing on it, and boom, you got this. Obviously the Gucci Gang track is huge. I mean, finally a million song, but I mean that's like how a lot of the music is now. It's just like finding like some catchy little wave. You get a buzz off this one song, and 2 years later, these artists fall off. So there's not a lot of people that create great work and stick around. I feel like a lot of music now is just these like I'm trying to think of a word.
Wonders.
Pretty much wonders. And they're fast. Yeah, it's just fast music. So what's the cool sound for next week? Well, maybe it's one of these weirdos. One of these mumble rappers, as they call them, they'll come up with something that'll pop, and then 2 years later you won't hear anything from these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's just not the kind of music that we want to come out with. I mean, we want to create, hits, stuff that you could, you have at parties, you can hear in a club, but we also want to have like music that you can put an album on in your car or you're at home and just really listen to it and be like, man, this is like, really well thought out project, so. But people have their preferences. I mean, people like Lil Pump. People like these guys like that. So you can't, they're grinding, they're doing their thing, so you can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
But everyone's got their own wave. So
yeah, man. Because I have a few more questions about y'all particularly. Only ones I really listen to, honestly, in the new wave, like one of my because I work, with kids and one of my kids, she's in high school, and she wanted me to listen to XX and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, he's one of them new cats that like I listen to an album, cause he's kind of different, he's weird.
I listen to him too.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like he don't bore me. Like he's like, he may look crazy, but he's very intellectual. You know what I'm saying?
I heard his first project he put out, and I turned it on. And I was like really surprised by the way it sounded because he had like a lot of like acoustic guitar, like electric guitar. Like it didn't sound like what I was expecting it to sound like. So it did interest me, you know, the way that he kind of formulated that project, because I thought it was gonna be just a bunch of like, you know, just a bunch of amp tracks.
Yeah, like
but it
loud
was
stuff.
not at all. It was all like just kind of vibey. It just wasn't what I expected. I mean, he's a weird kind of dude, and he's out there, you can tell. But
he's,
I mean, he's obviously got, you know, some intellectual sees all the way he does the music. So
yeah. So it's cause like even like I'm not gonna lie, I listen to Kodak Black. Like I'm sorry, like you know Kodak is like to me Kodak reminds me of a young Gucci or Boosie. You know when I listen to when I listen to Kodak, cause I ain't gonna lie, you know even though I'm from Florida and like Kodak, you know he's from Florida, like he was one of them you know artists that I was scared to listen to, but when you actually listen to his album, like it rides, you know. But it's more of a, you know, you got to be like with your homeboys type stuff. Like his music, I can
I
vibe
haven't
that.
really listened to his album. I'll check it out. I haven't really listened to it.
Yeah, nah, listen to Kodak. Like working out, like you can work out to his music and stuff like that. When you just riding out, you know, in the city, like you can listen to him. Like he's with Kodak. He get in a lot of trouble, but like to me he's lyrical in his own way. Like to me he's not a mobile. He's not a mumble rapper. He's not like a what's that kid name? What's that boy name? He from Atlanta. I forgot his name. He got like the red hair. I forgot his name. But
you're talking about Lil Yachty?
Lil Yachty. He's not like him, or he's not like Little Pump and stuff. Uzi is like he's like he's not what I'm trying to say. He's borderline because Little Uzi is like he's dope. Yeah, like he got some you know he got some hits and stuff like that. One question I want to ask y'all too about these new rappers. What y'all think about Cardi B?
She's hot, man.
Yeah.
She's hot right now. I mean, I don't think she messing with Nicki Minaj as far as lyrically, but I mean, for right now, I don't know how long she's gonna last. I don't know if she's gonna have any longevity because I don't think she's lyrically great. But she's got some hits popping right now, some bangers.
She's a personality. She definitely is. A lot of people gravitate to her because that's like her personality is huge. You can't like mistake Cardi B. So, you know, I think a lot of her popularity definitely comes from like her persona. You know.
Yeah, cause I think with Cardi B, to me, I feel like she still kind of needs to come out with an album, but at the same time, it's like she got everyone in her hands. You know, she got the whole world in her hands and stuff, and like just seeing where she came from. Just coming from the strip club and coming from Love and Hip Hop, and now being a mogul. I'm like, that's how it should be. Like if you're an artist or anybody, you coming from the bottom, you coming from situations like that, whether you a drug dealer, whether you a stripper, whether anything that's like not positive in the public eye, but like the change, like I look at Young Jeezy, like Young Jeezy came in, he was selling dope and stuff like that, but this man's a mogul, like he's in that lane with like the Rick Ross and Jay-Z and stuff, like he's a mogul, you feel me? So it's just like I love seeing that growth and like with Cardi B, like I listen to my fiance all the time, like especially, she Dominican and stuff like that, and she from New York. So I hear from her all the time. She's like, Cardi B, that's my girl. But Cardi B, I'm proud of her though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just waiting for that. To me, I think if she dropped one album, I'll be fine with that. Like, she can just drop one album. She don't have to drop nothing no more. Just because of how everything is nowadays, like with technology. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to get back with y'all, like I said, the Grammys coming up and things like that. Do y'all see y'all like winning the Grammy? Is that one of y'all goals? As an artist, as a group.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a landmark you can't ever like, you know. It's one of the things you would always, you could. It's one of the things you just shoot for, your entire life to get a Grammy. If you're an actor, obviously you want an Oscar. I mean, that's like the pinnacle of, the pinnacle of your craft. So, I mean, to be at the Grammys one day, sitting there and accept an award, I mean that's something you dream of. So, and I think anyone in music, if you want to make that your life, I mean, one of your goals is to get a Grammy. I mean, that's definitely one of those things you shoot for.
Yeah, man, I always felt like, seeing like an artist that win Grammys, like, they made it. That's when all the bigger companies come in and try to give you like sponsorship deals and stuff. But for like me personally, like as being in music, it just I don't know, like it's just like a accomplishment. Like Grammy is like winning a Super Bowl, like for music. So it's just like that's the goal, man. But what do y'all see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Rich. Very rich, popular, and with some, like you said, some Grammys every year. That's what I see myself 5 years from now.
What about you, AF?
Can't agree with that. I mean, obviously, one of the main goals is to, create and turn a profit for yourself so you can live a comfortable life. So, being at a point where, you don't have money concerns and things like that, I mean, that's, who could ask for more, And then, obviously having the accolades like winning a Grammy and being recognized for being an artist and being recognized for, changing music. I mean, that's something that hopefully in 10 years we, and I want to say hopefully, we'll definitely get there over the next 5-10 years. We'll be at that point where, we're in a conversation of, the Drakes and the Kendricks and all that. So, we're working now to get there, and then, it's a grind. It's a grind for everyone out there trying to get to the point. And there's a million other people doing the same things as us. So we just got to find ways to differentiate ourselves and put out stuff there that's just gonna change the game. So
yeah, man, that's what's up, man. Cause that is the goal, man. Like the main goal is to be successful, in your craft and just be like that. When they become like an icon, become a pioneer, become a legend, and just help out the younger generation. One more question I have too before we end the podcast. Dudda Dash, like, what's your top 5? Who's your top 5 like rappers?
My top 5 would be Jay-Z,
Okay.
Eminem,
Okay.
Lloyd Banks.
Okay.
Jay-Z, Eminem, and Lloyd Banks. Personally, Fab, and probably not.
It's crazy because you kind of give me that Fabulous type vibe when I listen to the music. You kind of give me that vibe, and that's not a bad thing because Fabulous and Lloyd Banks too, both of them to me are still underrated. Like especially with lyricists, like Fabulous is nice, and especially Lloyd Banks. AF, what about you as far as like producing? Like who's your top 5 producers like of all time?
oh man, I mean, definitely Just Blaze is in there.
Okay.
Ryan Leslie's definitely in there. It's close. I mean, there's a lot of guys I listen to. There's like guys like Scott Storch. Like he produced like a lot of like G Unit stuff way back in the day.
Yeah, Scott Storch.
Trying to think who else. I'm definitely 40. 40's in my top 5. Definitely. And then there's fifth. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I mean, there's a lot of guys I keep up on, follow.
They ain't not Dr. Dre not on there. You got Dre, you got
I mean, I didn't follow a whole lot of Dr. Dre as far as like his production. You know, obviously Dr. Dre is a pioneer. But his sound wasn't super influential to me. I mean, guys like Pharrell, like, you know, I listen to a lot of Pharrell.
I can see that. I can see Pharrell like influencing your sound. I can see that.
So yeah, I mean, I got a wide range, and like a lot of my influences are outside of hip hop too. So, you know, musicians from rock to jazz stuff. You know, I listen to a whole lot of different things. So, you know, my musical influences come from a lot of different areas. You know, even outside of like hip hop and rap, hip hop and R&B.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Who's your top 5?
My top 5 as far as what, like rappers?
Rappers.
I got number 1 is Eminem. 2 is Jay-Z. 3 is Biggie. 4 is Ludacris. And 5 is J. Cole. Nas, it's hard because Nas is, you know, you have Nas, you have Pac, you have like Scarface, like.
You know, I forgot. I didn't really want to. I'm gonna put Drake in my top 5. I forgot about Drake.
But do you?
I'm gonna put Drake. But
do you think that people? Do you think that he don't write his own lyrics?
Nah, he definitely writes his lyrics. I mean, now he might get some. I think people send him some hits, like some hooks, and he might change it up. He's gonna change it up, but I know Drake can rap. Like when he first was coming out, if he really wants to get on a track and rap, dude, he can rap. Straight up. And that's so I mean, you get to the point where you're so big where you might not have time to be doing all your writing, so people are gonna start sending you songs, and you might pay him and take a couple of their hooks and whatnot, but he already did his thing. Like, you know for a fact he can rap. If he really needs to get on a pen and write, he's gonna kill it more than most people are gonna kill it.
And that's and that's how I feel too. Like I feel like he could rap. Like I feel like he write his own stuff. I just think, just like all rappers, like, you know, you may a rap it may not even be another rapper. It could be even a producer. Like, you know, AF. You could relate to this. Like you may have, you know, Dudda Dash or another rapper come in, lyrical, but they may need some help when it comes to hooks. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, like even Snoop Dogg. I remember Snoop Dogg say Jay-Z wrote some of his lyrics for Still Dre, and I'm like, I look at Snoop. Snoop to me, he's an all around artist. Like you can never tell me that this man is not. He don't carry himself. Like he don't. He's not lyrical, but he's just one of them artists that has no problem with. Do I need something to be changed up and stuff? And look at Snoop Dogg. Like, Snoop Dogg is like, this man is everywhere, man. I can't even consider him as a rapper. He's just, I call him a god. Like he's just.
I leave, like, I don't even mention Biggie and Tupac. Like I don't even put them in my top 5 because it's Biggie and Tupac. Like
that's what I'm
legends.
saying.
Like, it's boring to put them in your top 5 now. Like you already know Biggie and Tupac. If you don't mention Biggie and Tupac, like, what are you doing? And so I don't even put up my top 5 anymore because it's just for where they belong.
And I feel like, you know, Eminem and Jay-Z, I give them another 5 or 10 years, they're gonna be up there. Like it's gonna be boring. Even Nas, like it's gonna be like you these three for our generation, like for 20 years, like they was like the next generation, you know, after Pac and Biggie. And then you also had like the older cast like Big Daddy Kane and all them. Like it's just it's like they in the Hall of Fame now. Like who's next now? Like I look at like Drake and, you know, the J. Cole's and the Meek Mills and the Kendricks and the, you know, Wale's and the Big Sean's. Like those are like the new generation of like
definitely
of now. You know, another question too. I have so many questions. Oh yeah, my top 5 producers. I got Dre. I have Scott Storch. I got Kanye.
Ah, I forgot about Kanye. Yeah.
Low key, Little John, just because Little John, to me, I feel like he's very underrated. Not just for like a producer, like making beats, but also a producer, like pretty much, grooming up artists. Like he brought a lot of artists out. And like with his sound as well, like you can still hear it. Like
Yeah. But
and then number 5. I could put like Just Blaze, or I could put it's a lot of producers, man.
forgot about Jay Dilla.
Yeah.
He's the sample god. I mean, that guy.
Yeah.
He changed the sample game. So he's definitely one of the greats.
Yeah, man. And then you got what's the man name? What's his name? Is it Academics? Not Academics.
Oh.
Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
Alchemist.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like when it comes to producers now, it's becoming like rap. Like
Oh yeah, definitely.
you can't have
a lot of producers are just the same as art, like Metro Boomin now.
Yeah,
Mike Will did.
Yeah.
Young Chop, like all these guys, like they're running on the track. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, like
these guys just get just as popular as artists now.
Yeah, so it's just like it's crazy, man. But anything else that y'all want to like shout out, or anything new coming up that y'all want to say before we end the podcast? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. This been like, cause I have this podcast, and me and my fiance, we have our own podcast called Cuddle Talk, where we talk about relationships and things like that, family. And then I have an esports podcast. It's called Time Through. But this podcast like has been one of the most like fun like podcasts I've ever been on. Like it's top 5 for me. It's
great.
Great conversation and things like that. But like y'all have any like shout outs? Any updates? Any things coming up?
Yeah, so I mean, like we were talking earlier, we've got a project coming out. Hopefully, we will try to get it done, next 3 to 6 months. But we've already titled the project, so it's called Blue Diamonds, Black Hearts.
Okay.
So we're not quite sure how long the album's going to be and exactly all the content of it yet. But we've got probably about 3 or 4 tracks that we're pretty sure are going to go on it. But we're currently working on that project right now. So, I mean, we'll be announcing things as they get closer to the finish date. We try to keep updates pretty regularly on our Instagram page, Facebook, etc. So, we try to keep updated. And then our Davinciix team is great. We got our manager, Vanessa Noguera. She's been great. She keeps us in line, keeps us in check. You communicate with her via email. So she's great. She handles all those types of things for us. And then our video guy, London Chase. We've been working with him for the past couple months, and just to help get our video content up. So, the team is growing. We're growing our team. We've got a tight core of people that we work with. We don't really keep our circle that huge for the time being. Just people that we know are going to be there. If we need anything. So, so that's kind of our solid core group here right now. But there's a lot of good things coming for us in the future, and we do our best to keep our social media pages updated so people can keep along with us and know what's going on. So we should be having some shows here in New York probably the next couple months. So like I said, we'll keep all that stuff updated on social media so people can keep up to date.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I meant to say, shout out to Vanessa. I would love to have her on the podcast one day too, just to speak about like being a manager, because I know that's kind of hard, sometimes you have to put things together and make sure everything goes great. But me and her, we had great communication, via email, so shout out to her.
definitely.
Also, one thing too, how did y'all come up with the name Davinciix?
Hmm. So it's kind of, I guess, not really a long story, but I mean, for a while we weren't really sure if we wanted to just come out as Dudda Dash and AF, just kind of use our names, and whenever we work on projects, we just include both our names, or if it would be better if we just had like a group name. So like there's groups like Magic Jordan, Migos, where they're like have individual artists in their groups, but they come together and they have this I guess this Justice League group that they create, superhero group. So we figured it would probably be best if we had some type of group name that people could associate with both of us. And so, I mean, the first two initials are D and A. So, obviously standing for Dash, and then A standing for AF. And the Da Vinci part comes from obviously from Leonardo da Vinci, the greatest artist of all time. A guy who was proficient at not just art but engineering, science. I mean, he was just a guy like a jack of all trades type of guy. So, we try to approach music from the standpoint of like, incorporating, multiple disciplines, multiple skills. We come from a background where, music's not the only thing that we're good at. I mean, we're athletes, we're et cetera, et cetera. So I think someone like that kind of resonated with us. Someone like Leonardo da Vinci. So we thought it was a fitting name, and then adding an X on the end was just like icing on the cake. I mean, that just made it look better. So
Yeah, cause my bad for in the earlier I like Da Vinci, and then I forgot about the X and stuff like that. But that's what's up, man.
So we're rocking with that name for now. We've got our Davinciix Instagram page as well. Look at our own solo pages. We try to keep them pretty much update all of them, around the same time. That way, nothing's lagging behind. But for all the people out there listening, my Instagram handle is Afmuzikx. And then our Davinciix page is Davinciix. And then for Dash, it's Dudda Dash. Is all his social media handles. So, check us out. We try to respond to people as much as we can. We get a lot of Instagram messages and things that we can't always respond to, but it's been great because I get a lot of people, who reach out to me asking me, various producing questions. How did you do this? What program is for that? Like we like that kind of stuff. Where people reach out asking questions and input and things. So I didn't always have that, in my music production career. I mean, there were some people there that helped out for me, but if I can help out, young producers, looking to, make a way in music and figure out what things to do, what things not to do, I always try to respond as best I can. And I know it's the same for Dash too, so.
That's what's up, man. Dudda Dash, you got any shout outs? Anything you want to talk before we wrap up the podcast?
Not really. I mean, you did all the shout outs, but I had a question I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
That you asked us. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What you got going on?
That's a great question. Well, 5-10 years from now, I see myself, of course, married. Me and my fiance, we getting married this year in September. Thank you, man. Have a big family. Business wise, I wanna, cause right now I have, of course, I have the podcasts, but I also have like my marketing. I have my clothing brand, so in the future I will send y'all some clothes, so like I can either tell Vanessa to email me or whatever, or we could like exchange numbers and y'all could just give me your sizes. I just just ship y'all some stuff. I also manage as well, like with modeling and things like that, and I go to school because I want to be a sports and entertainment agent. So I see myself,
Oh,
having the Grammys, having the sports awards and things like that, having multiple businesses, multi-million dollar businesses, and also having like investing, in different companies as well, like having like different franchises, like for me, I try not to eat all the time 'cause I'm trying to lose more weight, but not like have like Taco Bells and stuff, like have like Denny's, just building, just building for the future. So when my kids, when I have kids and they become grown enough, like they can have something to fall back on, So
for sure, for sure.
I see myself like 5 to 10 years from now, just being a very successful businessman, because I do a lot as well, So
For sure.
I see
Awesome.
myself.
Respect that.
Any
Respect
way,
that.
I mean, just keep in touch. Any way we can help, each other. It's always a benefit.
Yeah,
So,
man. Cause right now, I'm working on the album, and I would love to have y'all on it. I'm working on my first track right now, but we gotta work, man. This is a
Definitely.
start for something great.
Yeah. As long like Dash said, keeping in touch with people that we meet and networking and building a network like that. It's always helpful. It's beneficial for everybody. So
Yes.
we're always here to help in every way we can, and let's get this working. So
Yeah, man. So I'm about to wrap this podcast up. So this been your boy DJ Anonymous with Sports Biz Music, episode 5 with the homies AF Music and Dudda Dash, also known as Davinciix, and we out.
later.
later.